let's talk about our veterans. We were kind of talking about that before the show started because I'm a military brat. My dad was a Green Beret. So how do you plan to assist our veterans here on Cape Cod? And we have a lot of them.
We do. We have about 25,000 veterans on the Cape, and generally veterans, suffer a higher degree of homelessness, joblessness, and suicide than the regular population does. I do sit on the state's commission for long-term care and housing for veterans, and so I have a passion for veterans anyways, and being on that committee and what we went through the last couple of years looking across the state and veteran issues for housing and long-term care is to recognize as the veteran population changes to more of our Vietnam veterans now and those that came after that they have some different needs than perhaps our World War II veterans and our Korean veterans, and also women. Women veterans are becoming a larger percentage of our veteran population all the time, and as we visited some of the soldier homes, they're not set up for women. But I want to see more access to veteran services on the Cape. There are some already, which is great. I think that can be expanded so that they don't necessarily have to go off Cape to Providence or Brockton where they get great care, but can we create some of that here on Cape Cod for our veterans, given that we have so many, and also work on their housing. We have a number of homeless veterans on the Cape that don't have housing right now. There's not enough for them. So just last week, myself and Will Crocker, who's running for state rep, rolled out a plan for what's called permanent supportive housing for the homeless, a piece of that being obviously to take care of our veterans, but potentially using some underutilized housing at Joint Base Cape Cod to perhaps house some folks there.
That.
Yeah.
I was just going to say
but,
We're going back in the military.
there you go. Well, for our veterans, I mean, it could create a sort of a familiar surrounding for them if they need that. I mean, there's a lot we have to flush out with that through perhaps a feasibility study to make sure we understand all the intricacies of that. But I'm an idea guy. I'm an action guy. I have no problem with putting something out there and pursuing options. That's, I think, an important part of the job is to help to foster that. And nobody has the market on good ideas. So when you go out and meet people in the community, they have great ideas. So I think sometimes people think, oh, my state senator is going to solve all my problems. I go out and say, what do you think? And I really want to spend more time listening than really I do want to spend talking, so that I can really pull those ideas out of people and say, hey, that's a really good idea. Let's talk about that. And I think people find value. There's more buy-in when you do that because they have a sort of a vested interest in it. There's some ownership involved in that, and that's the way I've always run my career. I want to let my people, you guys come up with the great ideas, and I'll be the cheerleader to help bring it to fruition. If you need to bring funding to it, or you need to bring some other aspect where there's legislation to make it work, let's try it.
And you've got, between you and your wife, I think I read somewhere, you've got like 200 years worth of experience.
Well, not between her and I. That would make us about 100 each. But in our two families, we have 200 years of Air Force service. My father was in the Navy, so we add that in, and we're over 200 years of military service between our two families.
Wow.